For the first time in 644 days, the Texans win at NRG and they win 2 games in a row. How good can things get? Let's react to the Texans' beatdown of the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Locker Room postgame show.
Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the hand.
How good can things get? How good can things get? Are you getting greedy at 2-2? Texans complete beatdown of the Pittsburgh Steelers, 30-6. I think even the most optimistic fan, given the circumstances that the Texans were in, probably didn't see this one coming. But it was an absolute beatdown. Never really in doubt. Maybe there was a brief stretch in the second half where maybe you kind of wondered, like, are they going to fold this? But then Pittsburgh, for whatever reason, on 4th and 1, decided to come out in shotgun. Texans get the sack. Jonathan Grenard gets the sack. Kenny Pickett leaves the game, and that's kind of when you figured that the Texans had this one in hand. We'll hear from D'Amico Ryans in the postgame show. We'll hear from Will Anderson, a little podium trip for Will Anderson. We'll also hear from CJ Stroud. Shout out to everyone for coming through. Whether you're a Texans fan or not, this is the best place to get the pulse of what's going on with the Texans. Be sure to subscribe, like, ride along. You can also hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central on Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. And we actually talked to Bobby Slowick this week on the show. He joined us live. You can go back and check that out. It was Thursday right after practice. And that's kind of where I want to start here. And I think this is really what the game came down to. We know the Texans' offensive line was depleted. We knew that TJ Watt was, the best player on the field. We heard that about 100 times. But what this game came down to me, were 2 things that you can kind of connect. And that was a mismatch at QB and a mismatch at offensive coordinator. CJ Stroud is by far a better quarterback than Kenny Pickett. Now we can drink the Kool-Aid and we can go as far as we want about how good CJ Stroud can be, but the one thing we can say this early on, and I think it's too early to say a lot of things 4 weeks into a season, although this is a historic start from CJ Stroud. But the one thing that I can say without any hesitation is that CJ Stroud is a much better quarterback than Kenny Pickett. No questions asked, zero doubt. CJ Stroud is better than Kenny Pickett. And I think we can all agree on that. That's going to be the same case next week when they take on the Falcons. CJ Stroud is better than Desmond Ridder. You have the advantage at the most important position, whether he has his offensive lineman or not. Now, Arthur Smith's a better offensive coordinator than this Matt Canada guy. That guy might be one of the worst offensive coordinators that I've ever watched. He probably would have fit in really well in recent years with the Texans, because I don't know what the hell that guy was thinking. I know that if you listen to Pittsburgh radio, if you listen to Pittsburgh Steelers fans, most of them seem to think that he sucks. He's terrible. His decision to come out there and empty on the 4th and 1 after they'd kicked a couple of field goals, I thought that was kind of where, I think that was a fireable offense, quite honestly, if I were making the decisions with the Steelers. But the mismatch at QB and OC, I think, is significant. Second thing about this game, there was talk even from people at Ohio State. I remember talking to Bobby Carpenter. I remember talking to Bo Bishop. They are passionate Buckeyes who follow the team more than anyone, and even really Ohio State fans. It was never a question, especially if you watch the Georgia game, about, if CJ Stroud had the ability to use his legs, but sometimes the instincts were questioned and the willingness to use the legs. It has been borderline perfect. The way in which this guy has extended plays, the way in which he kind of lets the game come to him, his feel in the pocket, not sacked this week. He didn't get sacked last week, and he didn't get sacked this week. And we're talking about 3 or 4 starters off the offensive line, including your starting tackles, And then one of their backups goes down, and he didn't get sacked this week. I think Bobby Slowick, we go back to Bobby Slowick. I think Bobby Slowick deserves a lot of credit for that, but I just think the overall feel in the pocket is second to none. I'll say this. I've never seen a rookie look this calm as CJ Stroud. I thought the end of the first half was pretty telling too, where you could have gone either way. I don't know. Bobby Slowick, the Texans were up 13-0. You could make a case Pittsburgh wasn't going to score 13 points, and you could have easily taken a knee and taken it into the into halftime. Bobby Slowick decided for the second week in a row, he decided to be aggressive and go steal 3 points, and he did that. A couple passes to Nico Collins, but the things that stuck out the most for me is just how quick, with the backup offensive lineman and everything, how quick CJ Stroud and the Texans were to spiking the ball. And how smooth it was. Even the last play, I heard Clint Sterner mention this on the Sports Radio 610 post-game show, where CJ even looked up at the clock before the final field goal, and he let a few extra seconds go off, killed it before that field goal. I thought that was incredible. CJ Stroud's legs. And take number 3, and I think this is good because beggars can't be choosers around here. But I actually think there's still some things to clean up for the Texans on defense and on offense. And I know that's crazy to say. I'm not saying that to minimize the Texans win and the impressiveness of it, but I think they can run the ball better. I think that'll naturally happen when the offensive linemen come back. And I think on defense, I just think Pittsburgh's offense is trash. But there are some things that they can clean up. And when you start talking about teachable wins and all that type of stuff, and you watch a team win by 24 and you still say, man, this team can get a lot better. And naturally they will as they get more guys coming up off the injured list and IR and all that. I still think there's some stuff to clean up. And that's a sign of a good squad. And I think they got the coaching staff to be able to do that. Let's hear from DeMeco Ryans. Let's hear what he had to say. His second win as a head coach, Texans' second win of the season. We now pretty much got a 13-game season in the AFC South. Every team in the AFC South right now is 2-2. So you're 4 games through. You can just wipe the slate clean, and 13-game season. And you think you get back Titus Howard. You might get back Juice Scruggs. We saw Kendrick Green get injured in the fourth quarter. Damn shame, because I was going to go down and interview him, hear what he had to say about all the crap they've been talking about him in Pittsburgh. But you're going to get those guys back. Hopefully you get the punter back too. I am really ready for Cam Johnson to come back. We haven't really heard much about that. But let's hear from the head coach. Appreciate everyone for coming through. It is a Locker Room postgame show. Here's DeMeco Ryans.
The running game on offense, that's exactly what we wanted to do, right? We knew for us to win this game, we had to run the ball efficiently. And it starts with the offensive line, the way they blocked up front, tight ends, like the way our backs ran, right? Especially, Damian, the way he ran his best game this year, it was awesome to see, him just continue to press forward. When he got the ball, he had a, I will not be denied mentality. And it showed from our entire offense, right? When the running game gets going, it just opens up a lot of other things, allowing us to hit some explosive passes, right? With Nico having a really big game, CJ continuing to do well, right? It's all a credit to the run game. And I'm excited for where we are in the run game right now.
And it naturally gets better, right? The run game. You're listening to DeMeco Ryans, watching DeMeco Ryans live in the Locker Room postgame show. I think it naturally gets better as you get offensive linemen back. I mean, those were some tough yards by Dameon Pierce.
Right, we know we had our hands full, right? Highsmith and Watt, 2 of the best edge rushers in the league, so we knew we had our hands full. And again, I always go back to, it doesn't matter who's out there. You protect together. All 11 guys, that's how you protect. Starting with the O-line, tight ends, backs, but also it's the quarterback and the receivers getting the ball out, running your routes with the proper timing, quarterback getting the ball out on time. All of that goes into play with protecting. And I thought overall, collectively, as the offensive unit, we played really well in stifling their pass rush.
Victor, could you talk about 2 things, the importance of Grenard's 4th down sack and also your coaching staff, what they've done the last 2 weeks to help you win these 2 games?
It was excited to see JG get that sack. He missed one earlier, so he owed us one. So he came up big time for us at the right moment, big time moment. It was huge for him to get that one. So excited for what he continues to bring as a pass rusher. And for our coaching staff, right? And it's credit to all our guys and the work that they put in that no one sees behind the scenes, right? What I love about our coaching staff is no one complains about who's out there. And we've had a lot of injuries, a lot of things. Nobody complains. Everybody just keeps pressing forward. Everybody just keeps working, right, with the guys who are up. And it's a relentless mindset from our coaches. And starting offensively, starting with Bobby, thought he did a really nice job calling the game today. Credit to him and his staff and how he had the guys prepared versus a really tough defense. And to see them go out and have the outing that they have today is a credit to Bobby and his staff. And defensively, Coach Burke and the staff. Again, same thing. Doesn't matter who's out there. They had the guys prepared, had the guys ready to play. And I'm really thankful for the coaches that we have on our staff. They've done an excellent job.
And going back to the Grenard sack, I actually thought that the dialed up blitz, the run blitz with Petrie that led to a loss of 8, I thought that was big too, because the long Pickens reception, it was 17. It was short. That was when Pittsburgh called the timeout. And then you had Grenard get in there for the second time. But I actually really liked what D'Amico dialed up there using Petrie. And then you had the incompletion after that. I thought that was nice.
Coach, I know that everything is always team first with you, and I get it. But for you personally, to be able to win today, give the fans their first home win since 2021, and to give them also the first back-to-back win since 2021. How does that feel to you just personally?
It feels awesome to get a win, right? And that's what we're here to do, right? Me coming here taking this job, this is how we want to play football. We want to play winning football. And it starts with the guys in that locker room. I'm proud of what they've done, the work that they put in throughout the week, right? We're grinding through some hot days here in Houston. Nobody's complaining. Everybody's working, right, pressing forward, doing what they need to do, right, to get results on Sunday. And I'm proud of our guys, proud of our staff, everybody, right? If we keep playing the way we're playing, the results will come. So we're not focused on the results, just focus on the process, and we keep that mindset, it'll all take care of itself.
Well, D'Amico, obviously, you get the win, you're home, even the record 2-2, that's very important. But how much more special is this win with the fact your former teammate J.J. Watt goes into the ring?
With J.J. Watt, it's credit to J.J., his career and what he's done. Excited for him. A huge honor for his name to go up in the Raptors of the stadium. It's going to be an inspiration to a lot of people when they look up and see his name. It's well-deserved. J.J., great man, great player, right? And just an inspiration to many. So congratulations to J.J. He definitely deserves it. It's great seeing all the former guys here today rooting us on.
Hey, D'Amico, how important was it for you guys to actually score on that first drive, get down there, having a few setbacks, but to be able to come away with the 7? How important was that?
Yeah, I think that first drive, it really helped us, right, offensively. We've been having a few slow starts, right, coming out. So that really helped us even with the penalties and being able to move back. A couple of times there, we were hurting ourselves. When we've been in those positions before, we've not scored, right? It's turned into a field goal, or we just hurt ourselves so many times. But to see us get better in that position, we needed to score in the red zone, and for us to score multiple times and get it called back, I think it was really momentum shift for our offense, right? And they knew they could put the ball in the end zone, and when you see that multiple times, it just gained more confidence, and I think that's what helped them a lot throughout the game. They knew they had confidence to put the ball in the end zone and move the ball, and that spurred a lot of movement throughout the game, right? We controlled it there at the end. I love the fourth quarter drive there. We held it. We ran the ball, when we needed to run the ball and burn the clock. So it was really awesome to see our offense work the way they did today.
Got time for a few more. We'll go Cody and Brooks again.
Hey, Coach, earlier you talked about the improvements you saw in your defense, but what type of improvements that you see in your linebacker, especially the pairing of Henry T and Christian Harris?
With Henry and Christian, they're continuing to get better, every week in practice, just watching them work together, right? Watching them lean on each other, right? Very similar to how they played at Alabama. Both guys leaning on each other, and they're young players, right? There are going to be some bumps in the road, but I'm encouraged with their progress, right? Not only in the game, but just seeing them progress through the week on things we've been trying to teach them, right? They're getting better, and that's all I can ask for, and I'm proud of both of those guys, the way they're continue to step up and improve each week.
All right, two more. The Christian Harris thing's interesting. He had a pretty good game today, but I mean, I think we expected, Christian Harris. I think there's still a lot of improvement for Christian Harris. And Henry To'oTo'o, man, he had another good game, and they trust him to call the plays in the defense. So that kind of says what they think about that. Here's more from D'Amico.
D'Amico, the last two games, you've had multiple score leads at halftime and haven't scored in the last two games. What is contributing to that? What is in terms of getting started early, and also what is the conversation like at halftime when you have that kind of lead?
All right. These past two games, we've had leads, but it all goes to execution, right? When our guys execute, that's when you score points. It's all just about execution. There's nothing glamorous. There's nothing special about it. Everybody just going out, executing, doing their job, and that's doing their part. That's what it is. That's what turns into points, and that's what I'm pleased with.
D'Amico, just a following up on the question about your coaching staff. I noticed a lot on the fourth down calls. You don't necessarily jump into when the offense comes in. You sort of stay away from it and let that offensive staff. Is that the type of confidence that you expect that they'll get right call play without you getting involved in that on some of those fourth down calls?
Yeah, I have full confidence in Bobby. When we go for fourth down, I'm confident in our offense. I believe that they can get it. Sometimes we convert, sometimes we won't, but that doesn't stop my belief in our unit and what they're capable of doing.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.
I don't know about y'all. We're going to hear from Will Anderson. We're going to hear from CJ Stroud. I feel old as hell every time I was muted. My bad. I was trying to be quiet for D'Amico and try not to pop the top. But I feel old whenever Will Anderson and CJ Stroud go up to the podium. These guys are 21 years old. CJ turning 22 in October. But we'll see what happens. Appreciate y'all for looking out on the mic, man. Luckily, it wasn't like a big thing. Let's go back through the game, though, the key moments before we hear from Will Anderson and we hear from CJ Stroud. I'm marking the comments. Keep the comments going. Keep it rolling. Good vibes here right now. Texans 2-2, just like the rest of the AFC South. Be sure to subscribe, like when you leave here. Go back and like, and then come back in. Whatever you got to do. It would be much appreciated. It is the Locker Room. Welcome everyone for the first time. Welcome the returning folks reacting to the Texans. Dare I say, assing of the Steelers. That was an assing. That was a beatdown. I thought the Jags game was a little bit closer than the score. This one never really in doubt, and it really kind of started on the opening drive. CJ found Nico on the opening drive. It was actually a really, really wild ending. You thought maybe CJ had gotten in the end zone. I actually thought he did. They were showing like a weird angle. And then you have back-to-back Shaq Mason penalties, and finally gets capped off with the Nico TD. And that's another encouraging thing. I've seen a lot of you talk about, you feel good in third and long with CJ, and it's nice. It's the drive killing penalties can be frustrating, especially when you don't have a huge margin of error. But you had the 3rd and 3, Stroud moves the chains to the 1, could have easily been a touchdown. Shaq Mason has a false start. Then Shaq Mason has an ineligible downfield. Then Brevin Jordan gets grabbed, pass interference, and then Stroud to Nico. So in the past, and I know y'all have watched a lot of Texans games. I don't know about you, but when I see a penalty at the 1, I'm like, oh God, here we go, field goal time. And then you see it again. CJ just kind of had that poise, and he ended up finding Nico to make it 7-0. Then you had the Steven Nelson interception, which I thought was impressive enough, but I thought it was even more impressive that he got up and added the 30 yards of field position. That was a lot of awareness by Steven Nelson, not only to just make the play, but after he made the play, he got up and he ran the extra 30 yards, which ended up paying off. Texans kicked the field goal and they go up 10-0. Then you had the Dalton Schultz sighting. We've been asking for the Dalton Schultz sighting. Dalton Schultz, CJ finds him down the middle of the defense for 29 yards. Texans add another field goal, 13-0. And at this point, you're kind of just thinking, okay, is this Steelers offense like going to be able to put up 13 points? Like, is this game already over? Like, what exactly are we doing here with this Pittsburgh offense? Then the Texans they elect to go for it on 4th and 1 at the Steelers 28. Pretty decent play call, although the protection wasn't there. CJ Stroud skips it to Andrew Beck, who he had in the flat. You could immediately see CJ kind of slapping the floor. And 13-0 rather than 16-0 or 20-0. And you kind of think, okay, maybe Pittsburgh can figure something out, but they weren't doing a damn thing on offense. We'll get into the halftime yardage difference in a sec, but I thought this was a pivotal moment. And I want y'all to be honest with me. I want y'all to be completely honest with me. It is the Locker Room #1 source for Texans daily digital content. Subscribe, like, ride along. We'll hear from Will Anderson in a second, but I want y'all to be 100% honest with me here. When they were up 13-0 and the Texans got the ball with, I think it was 54 seconds remaining, would you have been okay with the Texans just taking a knee and taking it to the house? Because it seemed kind of apparent that Pittsburgh wasn't going to score on offense. And all I'm thinking about in these situations is it's obvious passing downs. TJ Watt, we've seen JJ do it, sense of the moment, maybe like a strip sack or something. I looked over, I'll be honest. Like I'll be honest. I don't mind eating crow, and I don't mind being honest with you guys. I looked over and I said, hey, just take it to the house. Like, just take it to the house and see what happened. Bobby Slowick, though, for the second week, he decided to go in his bag, and Slowick gets very, very aggressive. He adds 3 at the end of the half. Collins for 45 and 15. Perfect execution by the Texans. You can tell they kind of have practiced this. Well-executed spike, specifically on the 42. I mean, you looked up and they were already ready to spike it. They spiked it, and then on the 15, they spiked it again. And Texans take a 16-0 lead into halftime. It was pretty damn obvious that the Steelers were going to have problems scoring. Now, they came out with a little bit more juice in the second half, which is hard to have as little juice as they had. Halftime yards was 53 to 271. The Steelers had 53 yards in the first half, which is less than the Texans had when they started that drive in the second quarter with 54 seconds remaining. Just those 2 Nico catches that surpassed all the yardage that Pittsburgh had in the first half. Steelers settle for 3 on their first drive. They actually kicked the field goal at 4th and 4. I was surprised they didn't go for it, but they decided to kick the field goal. They settle for 3 again. So on consecutive drives, the Steelers had points at 16-6. Kind of seems like Najee Harris is feeling himself a little bit. Steelers get the ball back, and you're wondering, okay, are they going to make this a one-possession game? 4th and 1. That Matt Canada guy we hear about in Pittsburgh a lot. 4th and 1 after Najee Harris had kind of found a rhythm and was breaking tackles. And I heard Jonathan Grenard talk about this, say he didn't want to bite the hook, but I think even the Texans were a little bit surprised that Pittsburgh came out in empty, and Pittsburgh comes out in empty. D'Amico dials up. Perfect defensive play call. Jonathan Grenard makes the play. He gets his second sack, and down goes Kenny Pickett, 16-6. And I'll be honest, I was hoping Pickett was okay because I think he sucks. I think they're kind of in Davis Mills territory where you can nitpick and you can say, well, this guy doesn't have a good offensive coordinator and this guy doesn't have weapons and stuff. Like maybe people were doing with Davis Mills last year. But when you know. Like Kenny Pickett is, I think Pittsburgh should be one of those teams perhaps looking to get a quarterback right now. Maybe they can try to make stuff perfect for Kenny Pickett. But I'll be honest, when he went down, I was like, first of all, I don't want players to get hurt. But second of all, I was just like, hey, I don't even know if he's better than Mitchell Trubisky. Texans then take advantage. They kind of smell the blood. We had another Dalton Schultz sighting. First TD of the season, kind of ices the game 23-6. At that point, it's a 3-possession game. I think it was pretty evident that it was done, but the Texans were still getting greedy. They were still throwing the rock, and Nico Collins scores 30-6. That is your final. As far as the atmosphere, we'll hear from Will Anderson in a sec. Going to hear from CJ. As far as the atmosphere, though, the Steelers were deep. This was perhaps the best environment that I've seen at NRG. It was definitely the loudest, most active Texans crowd that we've seen. And I would say leaving the stadium, the vibes, it kind of resembled the 2017. Some of you may remember the 2017 beatdown of the Tennessee Titans, where you felt like you had a quarterback. There was confidence. People were excited. That's kind of what it felt like leaving. Texans fans were really, really happy. There were a lot of Steelers fans. Not sure if these Steelers fans had a really smart football IQ, because I don't know what they were doing, but when Pittsburgh had the ball 3rd and short and Texans fans were being loud, it almost seemed like Steelers fans were taking it upon themselves to be louder than the Texans, which in certain situations that makes sense. But when the team that you're rooting for and you carried a damn yellow towel in to cheer for and you're wearing all the gear and stuff, when they have the ball on offense on 3rd down, you probably want to be quiet. It seemed like, and it felt like Pittsburgh fans were trying to be louder than Texans fans on 3rd down. Didn't make a lot of sense. A lot of respect for the Steelers fans. A lot of pajama pants. They like to wear pajama pants a lot in Pittsburgh. I don't know why. Even when they go run errands. It was interesting. And as far as the Steeler thing goes, I was really impressed with Kendrick Green. I've never heard a player get crapped on as bad as Kendrick Green did in Pittsburgh, especially for someone who's not a top name or anything like that. As soon as he got traded, I mean, if you heard the way he was getting talked about in Pittsburgh, it was wild. I actually looked over before Kendrick got hurt. He was walking around in the locker room. He's obviously sore, but he was walking around. And when players get hurt, they don't talk to the media. But I was like, man, I'm going to go talk to Kendrick Green and, see if I can get something from him, given all the crap that he went through. And then, damn, he gets hurt. So, yeah, that did not happen. Will Anderson also, it looked like it kind of looked like that should have been a touchdown. It ended up not being a touchdown, but another good game for Will Anderson. Let's hear from him here in the Locker Room post-game show. Be sure to subscribe, right along. Here's Will Anderson.
Just your takeaway from the defense today, just getting in the back, what was the energy like?
Man, the energy was high, but we knew going into this week what type of game this was going to be. Like the way we practiced this week, the energy was high. Everybody's technique was good this week. The coach pointed out a lot on the film. He was just like, I'm excited to see you guys eat because of the work you guys put in this weekend. I mean, JG, Malik, Rain, all the defensive linemen, they did a really good job penetrating. That's what we practiced all week, just penetrating, disrupting, having fun, and getting the quarterback off his spot.
JJ going in today, he said that he got a chance to talk to you
yesterday
or in the weight room, and said you had asked you for some questions and said you had to think of some. What was that interaction like, and your thoughts on that going forward?
Yeah, JJ's been a great mentor for me so far. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to start sending him some more clips so I can get some more help. But he's been good, man. I mean, honestly, it's a privilege and it's a blessing to have somebody like JJ to communicate with, to help out. You know what I'm saying? What he's done in the league, what he's done for the Houston Texans is unbelievable. And then the speech he came and gave to us Friday, and it was Friday or Saturday, but one of those days, he has said a lot of powerful words. And I think it stuck with the team a lot. Just don't take anything for granted. Like you're in the NFL, there's not a lot of people that can say that. And I think that resonated with a lot of the guys.
Well, Will, how has this defense come together so well in the last 2 weeks? It's a short period of time.
It's simple. Everybody just doing your job. That's all coach just puts on the board when we do keys to victory. Everybody just do your job. And when you do your job, you get, That's what you get out there, you know what I'm saying? But it's just been so exciting, like the future. Like that's what we always talk about. The future is so bright here because the guys are great. We're hungry. We just want more. We want more and more and more. We just have that greedy mentality, that swarm mentality, and the energy that Coach D'Amico brings every day is so contagious, and we feel it. Like we feel it, and we just want to go out there and just play for each other, play for him, and play for the organization.
Well, you guys kind of talk a lot about daily progress each day, but just kind of in terms of confidence and growth of this young team, how big has it been to finally see those results the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's been great, man. I mean, we still got so much more work to do, and we can get better at so many things. But again, just going back to the future of how everything is building up, we just say keep chopping wood, keep stacking those days, man, and everything's going to take care of itself. But to have a young team like this, to everybody just buying in, I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody just buying into what the coaches are asking for and what they want for us to get done.
Hey, Will, can you talk about how much you see the growth each week? You talk about chopping wood. Well, what gets better each week? Because it looks like the team is getting actually better each week.
The execution. That's it right there, the execution. I mean, the energy is always there. The intensity is always there. Now it's just everybody executing their job and doing their job. I mean, that's what you see. Like, Coach always talk about if we was one play away from this or we was one tackle away from this, and we start cutting back on those things, just everybody just start executing. And that's just been the beauty of everything.
Well, it was the first game for Jalen and Jimmy to be back together in the backfield. What was that like for you guys up front?
Man, it was awesome having those guys back. Like, we feed off each other. The rush and the coverage goes together. Coach talks about it. We talk about it. We do our job up front. They eat. They do their job in the back. We eat. You know what I'm saying? So everybody just working together. Having those two guys back, man, high energy guys that's going to run through a brick wall for whoever's out there on the field. They always got their brothers back. Having two guys like that on the field is really special, and it's really a big blessing for our team.
Well, Will, of course, everybody felt like this was going to be rebuilt from the ground up here with D'Amico coming in. But this team is proving now you can get much better, much quicker.
Who thought this was a rebuild from the ground up with D'Amico coming in? I can't. What have we been doing the last 2 years? I don't think everybody thought that at all. I know I was a little bit optimistic that they would be competitive, but I think most did. I didn't think this was a ground up rebuild with D'Amico. But I digress. Go ahead, Will.
I feel like, quite frankly, where you are now, back to 2-2 and 500, this team can get better and get good enough to challenge for the division championship.
Yes, most definitely. You know, one thing, we always focus on us. You know, we can't focus on what anybody else got going on. I think that's what we do a really good job of focusing on the Houston Texans. And we go to work every day. We're not worried about the outside noise. We're controlling what we can control. And we step on the field, we just got to go dominate, do our job, and have fun doing it. So, like I said, man, just to see everybody coming together, the chemistry from the team, chemistry with the coaches, it's a beautiful thing to see, man. Just the culture that's getting changed around here, man, it's just, I'm so happy to be a part of it. It's a big blessing. And I know the guys are happy to be a part of it too.
You talk about culture. Can you talk about what it meant for you guys on the side as a defense to see your offense go down and have to score 3 times?
Yeah.
But to be persistent and come away with 7.
Yeah, man. It's just the grit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
grit.
We get put in those situations in practice all the time.
Grit.
And how relentless can you be? Can you just, no matter how you get on the field, no matter what, how greedy can you be for it? And the offense showed that today, like running the ball. Coach said something in the meeting, like, we gonna run the ball, and we went out there and did that. It just goes back to the execution. How bad do you really want it? And I can tell you one thing about this team, we want it really bad. Thank you.
All right, there you go. That's Will Anderson. We'll hear from CJ Stroud in a second. Will Anderson kind of feeling, I think a lot of people feeling Will Anderson. He's having a good, you know, I know the sacks aren't as frequent as I'm sure that he would like, but he's right there, man. He's doing everything the right way. And you got to feel good about Will Anderson. Got to feel great about CJ Stroud, though. And that's really been kind of the large portion of the dialogue has been about the quarterback, and rightfully so. The Texans, there was a lot of dialogue about CJ Stroud coming in and what is he, what isn't he. Let's just be honest, though. Whether you were a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud guy, I don't think anyone saw what we see right now with CJ Stroud. Because if let's be serious, like if anyone knew that CJ was going to look like this early on, Cal McNair might have grabbed a damn golf club and went and hit every Texan player in the leg so that they would have lost to Indianapolis and taken CJ number 1 with this start. Now, is there going to be some speed bumps for the rookie? Maybe so, but he looked good. I was actually in the locker room or waiting outside the locker room. You guys might think this is funny. So Hannah likes to mess with me, rightfully so. I say a lot of crap. So I don't mind Hannah messing with me, but we were sitting there waiting in line. She looks over at me and she goes, "Hey, looks like we got a quarterback, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, it looks pretty good." She's like, "Yeah, that's an understatement." And then walks by. Everybody kind of laughing there, but I mean, he's been as good as advertised, and really, let's be honest, better than advertised. The game seems to be going really slow for him, and the crazy thing is he's not even at full strength right now. Not even close. He's going to get his 2 tackles back. Offensive line's going to get tweaked. Probably going to be able to run the ball a little bit. And he's actually gone against some pretty decent defenses. You know, it's not like the Texans like this. Nobody looked at the first quarter of this schedule and said, and I say first quarter still, I know there's 17 games. I still am a first 4 type of guy. So I still look at it in quarters, but I don't think too many people looked at the first 4 games before the season and said, damn, if we can just come out of there 2-2, we'll be okay. I mean, that's a good goal. But I don't even think the most optimistic person said, okay, we're going to face Baltimore on the road. Then we got Indianapolis at home. Then you got Jacksonville going to Jacksonville. Seems like a lot of people like Jacksonville. And then, oh my goodness, Pittsburgh's coming to town. I mean, it's been unbelievable. And real thoughts, man. I got to Deculus, man. And the offensive line, the depleted offensive line, they all deserve their flowers. But this has been better than advertised, CJ Stroud. And now this is how I'm looking at it. It's a 13-game season in the AFC South. Every single team in the AFC South is 2-2, all 4. Now the Texans, more so than the other teams, they're going to get a lot of help back after this week 4, and they're able to be 2-2. You're going to face Atlanta next week. Arthur Smith's a hell of a play caller. And Bijan Robinson's having a pretty good year at running back, but this is going to be the second straight week that you unquestioned have the advantage at quarterback. Say what you want about CJ Stroud. He's better than Desmond Ridder and he's better than Pickett. And you already have an advantage at quarterback. So if you can go to Atlanta and prove to 3-2 against a decent football team, got to give him a lot of credit for that. Let's hear from the man, though, CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, 16 of 30, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns, a lead at the podium. I expect nothing different here. Let's hear from CJ Stroud right here in the Locker Room postgame show.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think just for me, it's been the ability to be in a city like Houston that I felt God put me here for a reason. So you know how I start, just all glory and praise to Him. And I think it started all the way back from my 30 visit. When I came around, I sat right in this area and I poured my heart out to the coaches. They poured their hearts out to me, let me know what they wanted from a quarterback or if they were going to take one. And I gave them what I felt I was. And every day I feel like God has given me the ability to show with that attitude and that mentality every day. So it's been a blessing. I think it's really cool when you see your work pay off a little bit. But for me, it's just the beginning. Like I still think I left a lot on the field today. Could have played better in the red zone. And for me, of course, I always want to snip that.
Isn't that just wild? He's talking about what he left on the field there in that game. I mean, that's ridiculous.
In the bud.
Impressively ridiculous.
And get back to work. But it feels good. It definitely does feel good to work really hard and see it pay off. But for me, it's just the beginning, and I'm super blessed.
With the defense the last 2 weeks with shutouts in the first half, what does that do for the offense, the energy that you feel off some of the plays they're making?
Man, it's everything. I think those first 2 weeks, it was like offense plays good one game, defense plays good the other. And these last 2 games, we both play well together. And when you have a defense flying around like that, I mean, we feel it at practice. And when you got those good on good periods, you're warming yourself up, iron and sharp iron for that Sunday. And this week, those guys are flying around. You've seen them doing that practice, so that gives you the confidence that they're going to do it in the game. So it was a blessing to just have a defense like that. D'Amico's calling it well. Henry's playing really well, calling the plays, and guys are flying around, and you can feel the energy in the building. And it's really cool to be able to be an offense off of that. And we got to help those guys out a little more. I definitely think that today. I mean, we let him hang around a little too much. And we were driving the ball really well, but we weren't finishing drives. And that's something that we got to get better at.
Damn.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row, man. Just the guys playing solid guys, stepping up, man. This is a league, next man up. And my guy Deck stepped in, did a great job. KG, J-Pat, Shaq, George. So, I mean, when those guys up front are battling, we're battling on the outside, too, to make plays. So it really starts up front and running the ball. We ran the ball really well this game. Started off hot. I think we scored like 3 touchdowns in that first drive. So that just shows how relentless that this team is being built from D'Amico and Nick and Bobby. And we're buying into it, and we're really trying to be relentless and have that killer mindset like they're preaching every game, every play. So those guys played amazing. The tight ends helped those guys, helped the tackles out a lot with the chips and trying to control TJ and 56, who are 2 great players. That defense is a great defense. But I feel like when we're rolling, we're going to be hard to stop, and especially when we don't turn the ball over and we get 2 or 3 back. You know what I mean? So hats off to everybody.
Hey, CJ, you mentioned it. You guys scored 3 touchdowns before you actually got points. Can you talk about what that meant to be able to keep going back to the hole and come away on that first drive with 7?
Yeah, that's what we were preaching, man. Going to the red zone, getting 7, not 3. And when you're relentless and you're fighting your tail off, that's what it looks like. And we preach that through our practice every day. Jake Moreland, our tight end coach, comes up and he gives us a presentation of our red zone, and he tells us, man, it's kind of ironic. Like the red zone, we wore the battle red uniforms and we scored in the red zone our first drive 3 times or something crazy like that. So, and Jake brought that up in our meeting a couple weeks ago, and for it to see it to pay off, the guys working really hard at practice. It's a blessing. So, I mean, we got to keep that up and even be better, because we were driving the ball down a couple of times and just took 3 when we really should have had 7 on miscues, me missing a throw or things like that. And so we can all be better all around, but that's what we preach. We want to be great in the red zone.
CJ, it feels like you and Bobby been a much better rhythm the past couple of weeks. What point is
What's up, Stoots?
during the game that you feel like, okay, we put together a really good plan for what we want to do, we're executing really well?
Yeah, I think around Friday, Saturday. Those Wednesdays, Thursdays, we're putting in new things, so it's not always going to click right away. But for me and Bobby, we've gotten a pretty good idea on what we both like, the offense we want to run, and he's calling it, man. He's doing a great job. Case Keenum always says he calls it, we ball it. So it's been a blessing to work with somebody like Bobby, we're all getting trust, not only from him, but from the O-line to the tight ends to the running backs to the receivers, and we're starting to buy into the system, and I think it's showing. So
when you hear that you go for the second most passing yards to start and go career through the first 4 starts, what kind of goes through your head when you hear those type of accolades being attached to your name?
For me, it's a blessing, but I want to do more. I want to be really great at this game. I want to put in the work every week. And just like I think I was telling you in the locker room, they'll hate you. They'll love you one week, they'll hate you the next, man. So for me, it's a constant grind, constant build up throughout the week. And I'm getting back to my routine, working really, really hard this week to go play a tough Atlanta team. It's a blessing to be able to be playing decently. But for me, it's the guys around me. I can't do anything without those guys balling out. You see the yards at the catch. You see the guys straining up front. Me getting the ball out, trying to get the ball out on time. The running backs doing their job. The tight ends doing their job. Like, everybody's doing their job. And then you add the defense. And then you add our special teams. Like, everybody's playing together. So we got to keep that going. But it's a blessing for sure.
He's already talking about what they didn't do well, and he's already looking ahead to Atlanta. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever seen someone more impressive at the podium than CJ Stroud. It's actually pretty damn ridiculous. I knew there was charisma, I knew there were intangibles, but like the big picture and all that. And remember 2 weeks ago when he said, I believe in my offensive linemen, since he said that, after they got beat, they have not allowed a sack. And this is a makeshift offensive line, just another unreal display from CJ at the podium. We'll hear more. Be sure to go back and like the video, though. Appreciate everyone for coming through. It is The Locker Room on YouTube.
CJ, I know taking care of the ball is important, having interceptions yet this year. Seems like today, though, you had
some opportunities where you threw it a little sooner than you maybe wanted to, but you threw it away on purpose, or you put it where only your guy can get it, like a tough catch, like an intentional miss, I guess. Is that part of your growth? Am I right? Did I see more of that today?
Yeah, I think I'm getting smarter when it comes to that. Just not taking hits, throwing the ball away, or um, put into only where my guy can get it. I feel like I've been doing that for a couple weeks, but definitely the first point was just getting rid of the ball, being smart, not taking sacks, not taking hits, and I got to use my legs a little bit today. I think I could have used my legs a little more towards that back end, but like I said, man, we want to do anything it takes to win. And if that's to the world, it might look like a negative play, but not taking a sack and being smart with the football, throwing it away is really important, and helps field position, things like that. And the intentional ground I had was dumb on my part. I got to be better in that area, but definitely trying to grow in that case. And Davis has helped me a lot, and Gerard in the QB room of not taking hits and being smart with the football. So we knew that with this team, if you take care of it and you take it away, just like any other game, you can win a game. So, yeah.
Understanding that you respect your opponents, you made that very clear. But when you put in the work with your teammates under this coaching staff, is what we saw today what you expect when you step on the field?
Yeah, for me at least, I know I'm probably speaking for everybody. We don't have no expectations. We trying to do one play, one thing at a time. I feel like when you go in a game trying to do anything that like you put already to your mind, it usually doesn't happen that way. And that's how I kind of live my life, man. Just living where my feet are at, and working really hard to make that one thing happen. Doing my job because I trust my brother to do his. But yeah, when you put in that work there in practice, you expect success, but you only give yourself a chance. You don't. It's not nothing is set in stone in this league. So it's really hard. And you only give yourself an opportunity to make the play. It's up to you to go do it. So I definitely feel like, yeah, it's a better feeling when you put it in practice, but it doesn't guarantee anything.
CJ, I'm curious, there weren't a lot of expectations around this team, but you somewhat exceeded them. I'm curious, what made you confident that this team could be something this year? What during the process?
It was a lot of things, man. Trying to think. The first thing I can probably think of, I think the first thing for me was when I got drafted, and even before the draft, meeting Will, and we didn't know we were coming to the Texans or anything like that, but we talked about being teammates. And then you fast forward, we got drafted to the team. I got over 50, 60, 70 text messages from people from this organization, and mostly players. And for me, it wasn't a worry of mine leaving the place I did at Ohio State. Like when I was in Ohio with my brothers, man, back in college, like we were a real brotherhood. Like I would put my head on the block for those guys, and I would die for those guys. And I didn't know if the league was like that, but when those guys hit me up, man, it meant a lot. And they had none but utmost faith in me, and knew that they didn't draft me for any reason. And they told me that, and they had confidence in me before I even had confidence in myself in this league. So that was probably around the time where I knew we can be special, because the excellent, like if you're in the NFL, I mean, you're probably a really good football player. But when you have guys buying in to do it for one another, that's when it turns special. So like the energy that we're bringing every day to practice, to pregame, to halftime, to postgame, like we're bringing that swag and that juice that D'Amico talks about, that Texan way football, we're starting to show up. So, and we don't want nobody to think we're going to be good or bad. We don't really care. We're going to do what we do because we're the man in the arena. We're the ones doing the work. We're the ones getting hit. We're the ones playing. So for us, man, we just want to prove ourselves right more than prove other people wrong.
CJ, when you look back at Ohio State, the series that you had, the chemistry and how quickly you adapted to it, have you noticed that same chemistry with guys like Nico and Dalton and Tank so far in the 4 games?
No. Yeah, just like when I was in school, things didn't happen overnight. It took a little process, and I think even being here, I think I've actually gotten a good, better chemistry and connection faster than I did back in school. I think it took a little longer back then, but man, it's been a blessing to work with those guys. Those guys work their tails off at practice. Like if you see Tank's numbers on the catapult during the week, like you would be like, man, how is he gonna play? That dude's running fast. He's putting a lot of extra mileage in. Same with Nico, and they're constantly working on their bodies, doing what they got to do to play. And every single one of them wants to see each other eat. Like it was even a blessing to see Metch get some love today. I owe him one. I missed him on a little rollout. I got to hit him in stride, but to see him make a play on that end breaker, that was a really big thing to see from Mitch, because that's somebody that we're going to lean on this year. He's going to be big for us. So building chemistry with everybody, though, like from Brev to Dalt to Teagan to Beck. Oh, Beck won too. And then all the way to the outside to the backs. It's everybody's working together. So just building chemistry every day in practice has been really big for us.
CJ, you talk a lot about the brotherhood as far as the players, but what about the fans who look at you to take them, get them back over the hump and get them back into the playoffs? It's been a long time since this team has had a home victory and win consecutive games. So just to the fans, what would you say to that?
I want to say, man, and I've been thinking about this for a long time. Y'all deserve to feel special. Y'all deserve to root the Texans on. Like, not winning since 2021. I think it was around Christmas. Like that ain't flying from like anybody in this building. I want them to know, like, we're frying our tails off every day to make sure y'all walk around with Texan gear pride. Like y'all walk around with that swag that we walk around with when we get a dub. And for me, I take that real personal, because I don't like being bagged on by my teams. Like when my Lakers lose, I'll be pissed. So, so like I take that stuff real serious, man. And it's up to us to work every day and put the work in. And like you've seen, I mean, the Steelers fan came and they showed out today in our stadium, and we sent them home. And I think our fans felt the energy. Like, man, we ain't playing today, like from the get go. So I just want to say, man, like we're gonna keep fighting every day just so y'all can walk around with that swag. I think that's huge, man, for this team. That's something that we want to keep building on. And it's a blessing to be able to be in Houston, like a great town with a lot of stuff to do, great people, Southern hospitality to its finest. And I'm falling in love with the city little by little. So it's a blessing.
Damn, what a quote. What a quote.
We're just getting started. Man. It's only the beginning. It's a lot of football to be a lot of football to be played still. It's early, man. We don't want to get too high, too low. Stay right where we're right on 50, man. I think that's the thing to get us over the hump and get us a win each and every week, is just doing that one thing, like tonight, getting your rest. Those little victories that we talk about every day to get to the big ones. I think that's how it works. So for us, man, staying even head, even killed, and coming back to work with a relentless mindset. So ready to get back to work, but we got to enjoy this one, man, for sure.
Okay, CJ, obviously everybody felt this team was going to have to be rebuilt from the ground up.
No, they didn't. It's the second time he said that. Why does he keep saying that they had to rebuild it from the ground up? No, they didn't. What were we doing the last 2 years? Ground up.
Except your coaching staff and the players felt like you would be. Now you're in a four-way tie for first place in the division. Everybody's at 2-2. You've got to feel like you've got as good a chance as anybody else in this division to win the division now.
Yeah, man. When I was at Ohio State, we used to say Buckeyes against the world. Now I'm bringing this swag here, man. Texas against the world. So it ain't about what they write about us. It ain't like it's about what we put on the field on Sundays, the work we put in. So there's a lot of football to be played still, but we're gonna walk around with that swag. We know what we can do, and we're getting a lot of guys back from injury, which is gonna help a lot. And for us, man, we're just gonna keep fighting, keep battling every game, every day, every little one thing we want to keep battling. So it's just the beginning, and we're just getting started. So excited for the future. Go Texans. God bless y'all.
All right, there you go. CJ Stroud, just elite at the podium. Goodness gracious, just really, really elite at the podium. Appreciate everyone for coming through. It is the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans daily digital content. Please be sure to like the video. Go back, do whatever you got to do. Appreciate everyone in the comments. Little rapid fire here. Man, you're already talking about $500 million. Can we at least put a team around CJ with the rookie contract for a couple of years before we start talking about $500 million? Goodness gracious. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Cebu asks, Landry, what did you think of the JJ honoring? It was cool. John McClain got the windows down, up like he wanted. It was cool. It was fine. It was a nice little spectacle. And they got the dub, which was the most important thing. That was the most important thing, was getting the dub. If you listen to me this week on 610. G Falcon, Texans are definitely a playoff team if they continue to play like this. We shall see. They're definitely going to be a more healthy team, and that wasn't quite the easiest stretch of the schedule. Tackling needs work. Third quarter stressed me out. Yeah, there's a lot of things that they can fix. I do think Pittsburgh's one of the worst offenses in the league. KB74, I was at the game, and there were so many Steelers fans. It was nice to see them leave with 6 minutes left to go. They were good fans, and the Steelers are a cool team. Yeah, that's one of the best fan bases in football. Petrie Ward will get more chemistry the longer they play together. That's Russell Thompson. Yes, I thought Petrie looked good today. Jimmy Ward, I think he just brings so many elements to this game. I think he was one of the most important guys to return to the lineup last week. John says Nico is only a few yards from breaking his season records. Nico's really showing he can be a wide receiver one with Stroud. I'm not going to say wide receiver one. I think he can be a very, very good complementary piece. I think he's showing that. And there's kind of a back and forth between him and Dell. But yeah, if you can be a complementary piece, and if they can get complementary pieces and keep doing what they do, yeah, Nico's having a good year. Tunsil and Howard to come back next week, baby. We don't know that for sure. Titus is going to be eligible. You would think it would lean that way. Tunsil, I have no idea. Dominic from Jersey, Landry, we got to appreciate Slowick while we have him. It's inevitable this man will be a head coach sooner rather than later. Goodness gracious. He is on that path, though. Iced in. Landry, put the drink down. Why you changed the time? I was at the game, brother. There was traffic. I changed the time from 4:30 to 5 because I was at the game. There was traffic. It wasn't like one of these games where no one was there. It was a sellout. So it took a little bit more time. Home games take a little bit more time. That's why the time changed. As soon as I got home, I think 48. I let the dog out. I gave the dog some grub, came upstairs right with y'all. We'll be on right after the road games. David White, and you preferred Bryce Young over CJ. I did. And right now, it looks like that might be something that I was wrong about. And you know what? I want to be wrong about that. It's better when the Texans are doing things that end up working in their favor instead of everything that we've seen the last few years. So yes, I did. I was a Bryce guy. Dark Side DJ. What I'm about to say might sound blasphemous. I was watching a Tom Brady documentary Friday, and after the Jags game, CJ looks a lot like Brady when he is decisive and places the ball. Let's slow down a little bit there. I know the next batch of free agents are going to have Houston on their list. Let's slow down a little bit there and enjoy this season. Honey Badger beat Atlanta next week. Smiley, yes, it'll be interesting to see how that line begins. Mr. High, we might actually have a shot at the AFC South title. I agree. My question would be to anyone who's kind of skeptical about that, what exactly would it look like for you to say that the Texans didn't have a chance to win the division? That would be my question. I don't know. It'd be really, really interesting to see how that exactly goes. Right now, everyone in the division is 2-2. CJ Stroud looking good. Reaction Monday tomorrow on Sports Radio 610. It's going to be a really, really, really fun show. Am I worried about Will Anderson? Why? Why would I be? I don't understand. Like, what? He looks good. What do you mean? You counting his sacks or something? Yeah, no, I'm not worried about Will Anderson at all. I think Will Anderson's a really good player. Yeah, not worried about him at all. They will have to stop the run. Going to be a much better offensive coordinator in Atlanta with Arthur Smith. Going to be a run game that is going to try to attack a little bit of a shaky receiver situation, but it'll be an interesting game. It'll be another road contest. Texans looking to win 3 in a row for the first time since, I believe, 2019. We got to go all the way back for the last time the Texans won 3 games in a row. Please subscribe, like, ride along. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Thanks to everyone who came up and said what's up at the game. Shout out to all you. Some cop said that he listens to it on his night shift. Also had a couple of kids come up. I say kids, teenagers that watch this, as well as the normal Sports Radio 610 listeners. Been a fun time. It's on to Atlanta. Appreciate you for rolling through no matter what happens. By the way, 644 days. The drought has ended. Texans finally win one at home. And Texans finally win consecutive games. I appreciate y'all for rolling through. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, ride along, no matter what happens when it comes to this Texan stuff. We're all in it together. Thank y'all very much. Good times around here. Much more fun than it's been lately.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not 2. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube.